Hello and welcome back. My name is V and today I would like to talk about the World of Warcraft 11.1 The War Within patch, how I enjoyed it and what my overall impressions are on the game after being gone for a little bit and now coming back to World of Warcraft, and to be quite honest with you, enjoying it quite a bit. If you're new here on the channel, make sure to subscribe. Do let me know in the comments how you felt about the new patch and leave a like on the video for some good luck if you haven't done so yet. The first thing, of course, that I always talk about when I make game reviews is the story. And I think that 11.1 is such a breath of fresh air. I've always been a fan of both the goblin stories in Horde side and the gnomes on the Alliance side, and I always thought that they were very quirky. I loved their demeanor, their little tech, how, messy and goofy they are in different ways, but still having those two races be such an incredibly different experience lore-wise than pretty much anything else in World of Warcraft is so cool. And I loved going into a whole goblin-themed city with a whole carting and the entire story on what the goblins are, where they came from, what they're like. I just think that it was a genius idea to introduce them. And when it comes to Gallywix, I actually first found out about Gallywix way back in the day when I was playing Hearthstone. So I met Gallywix through a Hearthstone card, and at first I had no idea where he comes from, but then when I started playing World of Warcraft to see what the lore is of my favorite cards, I discovered a little bit about him, but in my honest opinion, not enough. So this patch was really interesting because it gave us not just a backstory, but the whole conclusion on his lore as well, and I couldn't get enough of it. What I think World of Warcraft does really well when it comes to storytelling is making you feel like you have a purpose, even through these tiny little quests. Some of them were fetch quests, but from the moment the 11.1 story started, I felt like I had to do something really important there. Like, I had a purpose, like my actions matter, and I love that. And that is unfortunately something that I've been feeling less in Final Fantasy XIV, which is something that I've been playing for years now. I feel like they've gotten a little worse at making me feel like I have a purpose in the quest line, whereas in World of Warcraft, it just felt like the story was more low-key with lower stakes. But it still made me feel like the stakes are high because they felt more realistic. The story was about this rebellion and helping a group of people who felt suppressed by the other people. It wasn't about killing a god or this or that, which I do admit is a great story, and I think that the whole Xal'atath being involved with Gallywix and everything is a great addition. But at the end of the day, I feel like the patch was more focusing on the struggles of more ordinary people, even though that was a consequence of the whole involvement of Gallywix with Xal'atath, and I guess that's the story that we still don't have a conclusion of. I still feel like they did such a good job at just making you feel important as a character while not being this champion or Maw Walker or this or that. There were no false titles. We were just a friend who was there to help the people in need. And I feel like that low-key approach to us as a character is really good. Something that, in my opinion, is very closely related to the story and the whole atmosphere is the music as well. And as someone who is a huge fan of Persona and is used to jazz vibes, and honestly, I'm not always a fan of jazz vibes, I think that the whole mood of the goblins, and you'll forgive me, I'm probably too young to be talking about these things, even though these days I don't feel young at all. I do think that the whole 60s or 70s or whatever it is the whole jazz vibe and the music of the certain parts of the region is telling a story, and I think that it is very, very closely related to what the MSQ, or the main storyline, is talking about, which is basically a group of goblins feeling suppressed and you being there to not necessarily save the day, but just being a helpful hand and being a friend to them and trying to make that area a better place. Some of these areas in Undermine have more of a happy vibe, and I honestly was just jamming through the entire story. And when it comes to WoW, there's something that I started to do again after years and years of basically not doing it anymore or not playing the game at all. Nowadays, I just log into World of Warcraft and I just chill in a zone and actually listen to the soundtrack while doing other things, rather than just finding a soundtrack on YouTube. The fact that I'm just stood there and that I'm enjoying the atmosphere and seeing people around me walking around, doing their quests and everything, it just makes me feel like I'm a part of the environment. And I haven't felt that way in WoW in the longest time. Now, I have played WoW recently with Neon Genesis here on the channel as well, and we've started playing through the vanilla WoW where there's not a lot of people. So it was a different kind of experience where we would go and we felt like we were essentially hiding from everyone else because we were just in these old zones that people don't tend to visit that much anymore. But even with that, I had fun, and some of the soundtrack is really, really amazing. But this one just felt old and modern at the same time, and I really enjoyed it. Couldn't get enough of it. When it comes to the whole carting and mount system, I thought it was a great idea. And as someone whose childhood memories mostly involve playing all sorts of Need for Speed games, I was just very happy to go into Undermine, get this little mount, and even though I haven't played that much of the game yet, to upgrade it and, you know, get it to the point where I am able to experience the full, you know, power of the breakneck. Love the name, by the way. I'm still having fun, and as a druid with a mount form, it kind of feels unnecessary sometimes to have a mount in a zone, but this one goes fast, it's fun, and it's just something that I never expected to have in World of Warcraft. But honestly, spending time just doing these little mini quests is not bothersome at all. If anything, it doesn't feel like a chore and it's fun. And this is actually something else that I wanted to talk about. So mini quests or daily quests or fetch or delivery quests or whatever they're called, I haven't felt for a very long time in WoW like side quests are not a chore. Now, I probably could have worded that in a more simple way, but yeah, they always used to feel like a chore. And this time around, even though seeing that you initially have 10 quests in a row to do for this, I guess, milestone or reward or whatever, you think to yourself, okay, doing 10 quests, that's going to take me like 40 minutes. Where do I find 40 minutes in a day to just do these quests? But they are so easy and so low-key that they just make you feel like in the tiniest way you're a part of the world, you're helping, and it's just great. So I feel like when it comes to side quests, there's a little bit of everything for everyone. There are the regular side quests, which sometimes will award you with a story, sometimes you'll get an item that will serve as an actual upgrade that can allow you to go into like at least a raid finder wing or something like that. Sometimes they will give you, you know, just a story conclusion or a satisfaction of getting to know the world better, and sometimes you get something like a pet or even a mount or something, and it's definitely worth exploring. Now, of course, there are daily quests which help you with the reputation, and I've been working towards that, but I'm definitely still not done. You have world quests, which are, I guess, the most bothersome point when it comes to world quests, and I don't really enjoy world quests too much. and I do them with a purpose. So whenever there's a bigger side quest that says complete, I don't know, 3 or 5 or whatever world quests, or when they offer an item or something that I really want, that's when I do them. Or when I want to progress the reputation faster, that's also when I do them. But apart from that, I haven't really been a huge fan of the world quests when they were introduced, but that's fine. It's now a system in WoW, and they're more often than not they are useful. They're not particularly fun or engaging, but I think that even the world quests in Undermine do tell a story, and I love that. As a little bit of a collector who took a big break from World of Warcraft, I have to admit I felt a little bit overwhelmed going into essentially a new expansion and a new patch, and seeing that there is so much that I don't have because I missed out on it. But now that I'm starting to kind of come back to the game and play more, there are some really comforting things that I'm discovering about the game. And if you've been playing World of Warcraft continuously or for months or years now, this is not new for you, but for me it is. So the whole system with the I don't even know what they're called, with those points that you collect, and then you can choose your rewards like mounts or minions or this or that. I was kind of feeling intimidated. I think it's called a trading post or something. I don't know. Anyway, I was intimidated by that because I thought that I was never going to be able to catch up with all the things that I wanted to have, and they're no longer going to be available. But then when I went there, I discovered that apart from the new things in the chart, there's also a section of returning items. And that kind of gives me hope that with every rotation that I'll be able to get at least a small amount of the items or things or mounts or minions, whatever, that are not available anymore. And I don't use them as much anymore, of course, and I do have other things going on in my life these days. I don't just sit in World of Warcraft, but I do definitely sit a lot more than I used to, and I feel comforted by the fact that I'm not forever locked out of most of the things that I missed out on. So that's a really, really good feeling, and honestly it kind of makes me want to play the game more, because now I really want to have an amount of points that I can exchange for these things that I missed out on at any time. So that's good. They won. My overall impression of the entire patch is really good. I'm a little bit, I guess, disappointed by the raids, as I did go into the raid finder wing, and honestly I started recording these videos and tried to make some content out of it, but I just felt like the raids themselves, like the story of the raids, is a little bit more underwhelming. So the goblin raids themselves, they do give you a little bit of a backstory on this, I guess, this area where they fight for entertainment or whatever, and then you get a little bit of a conclusion on these, you know, big bads or small bads in this case, that you met throughout the main storyline. So you get to fight Rick and whatnot, so that gives you a little bit of satisfaction, a little bit of conclusion. But overall I feel like it's a little bit underwhelming as content, and maybe I feel that way because as someone who used to raid Heroic and Mythic, now I'm queuing into Raid Finder, and I'm like, I don't know about this. It's not the most fun content that I could imagine. It's very simple, and I don't know. It's I feel like if I really wanted to enjoy raiding again, I feel like I would actually have to go into the high-end content, and for that I would have to restart the whole process of joining a guild, of, you know, talking, making some friends, making time, and doing all these things. And I don't know at this point if I'm ready for such a thing. So for now I've finished the, I don't know, the raid finder tier, and I'm okay with that. it's a good story. It's an okay story, I guess. But apart from that is a me problem, and it's just me not being able to enjoy raiding to the fullest when I'm in a group of people who are essentially just there to just go through it. And even if you don't know anything, you can just go into the group and kind of, figure your way out, and that's not what raiding is all about for me. So for now, I guess the raids are fine, but I guess I'm not enjoying them as much as I could. Overall, my impression is good, very good. Being logged into WoW for the first time after, years and years, it brings me joy. I'm almost constantly just logged in, listening to the music, enjoying the atmosphere, not really interacting with people. I mostly play it as a very solitary experience, but I'm still very happy to do so, and I'm having a lot of fun. So very happy with the patch. How do you feel? Let me know in the comments. Like the video for some good luck if you haven't done so yet, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. I do lots of World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, and other MMORPG content here on the channel, so if you're a fan of that, stay subscribed. I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you for watching the video, and bye bye.